Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Testing, testing, testing. Mic check. Testing, mic check.
Test, test, testing 1 2 3 4. Test, 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 testing 1 2 3 4.
Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check. Complete. Hey, I told that guy we had a dress code and he got mad and stomped off.
Well, just about set to kick it off here this morning. The first bull is in a talking about Bull TV here with us today. That's what time they go on. That's what time we're going to start. It's going to be a great day. Right in the 13th Annual Texas Breeders' Classic. Elite Futurity. Great 7-2-year-olds. We're looking at about 90 head on here today. And I think you're going to see something like it.
Just audio or we got a camera?
We're gonna use this camera.
Okay.
We got 2 cameras down on the wall.
That's Seminole County Expo Center. One thing you attended our show last night to kick things off, it was a wonderful sale last night. A great set of yearlings. I think probably quality-wise, top to bottom, the best set of yearlings ever offered at this particular sale. About $228,000 is what the sale goes last night. A little over $4,700 per lot.
Good to see you.
Really great sale last night.
So Jeff, you're gonna be right here in front of the red chair.
You want me on the inside of him or the outside?
You're gonna be between. You're
Okay.
gonna be right here. And sir, your last name is
Carlton.
Carlton.
Yeah.
Glenn, G-L-E-N.
GLENN.
Always awesome. Thank you, Dino and Edward Martinez for that. A lot of things going on. We're talking about today. More sales going on.
Jared, here you go. I'm about 2 minutes away. All right. Come together close.
2015 on the incentive and such. All of our results for today will be pending until testing gets back to you. Ready to go on that? We'll pick up the sheets after every 10, and we're going to be giving you scores as we go along. As we get them here on the monitor today. I want to thank you for that. Every one of them before we get finished here today. So stick around.
Joe, what are you doing? What are you doing when you go out on this? How are we going out?
Let's start it like we always do. Take a couple of moments to go to our maker and remember standing if you would please for your national anthem.
Okay, here's the anthem.
Our Heavenly Father, we just come to you once again today, thanking you for another beautiful day. Father, we thank you that we live in a country where we can participate in these sports that we know and love. Father, we ask your blessings upon this event today, the livestock, the handlers, the stock contractors, our help in the back. Father, all we ask for is 100% of the ability that you have provided for us through you. Father, we ask your blessings upon our men and women who are overseas, fighting for our peace, our freedom, and our dignity today, and all we ask for is a safe, swift return home for each and every one of them. Father, we be the leaders of our country and those around the world that someday soon that will shake hands and the end result will be worldwide peace, because we know it says in your book that all things are possible through me. As we close this prayer this morning, we do it as we always do. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, one nation, under God. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, red, white, and blue hanging from the rafters right here at the Expo Center today doesn't belong to anybody, but it belongs to all of us. If we take a look at her and we sing about her, let's salute her here today. Old Glory and our national anthem. you for that. Great work, great day right here in Rose. We just go back in, Jerry, 2-year-old, 6 gut system, 5-second clock.
Good morning, Buck and Bull fans, and welcome to Buck and Bull TV's live coverage of the 13th annual Texas Breeders' Classic at the Somerville Expo Center in Glen Rose, Texas. And Jerry Hargis, over $100,000 on the line here today, $25,000 to the winners. 13-year longevity with this event. This has to be considered one of the major futurities each season.
Yeah, it's such a great event, fantastic event. You know, the marquee event probably for the MBBA. I want you just a quick run through, like how you feel. You know, it got started and it's got to the point it is now.
I just got to mention we got Glenn Carlton with us, who along with Marty Fouch promotes the event and the sale that took place last night.
We started this event before there was a lot of events. We were one of the first outside of Bob Tallman doing these events, and we decided we wanted to do our event along with the sale, and we had our sale last night. It was very successful. We had, I don't have an average on the sale yet, but I know we had probably 15, 20 bulls bring from $10,000 to $20,000. Pretty proud of that fact. A lot of these bulls have come through here and gone on to do great things. Over $1.5 million in earnings of calves have come through the sale, including a PRCA world champion and many PBR short round bulls.
Yeah, you know, I was talking to you before we went on the air that over the last few weeks, this is a very strong part of the futurity season in this industry. ABBI, UBBI holding major events, and now NBBA holding their real crown jewel event. And, you know, what really impresses me is, as I was mentioning last week, ABBI held a big event with some real studs, and you put together a pen. We got 90 bulls here also, a number of studs here today. So the talent within this industry amongst 2-year-olds is very, very deep.
Well, it just tells you how many bulls are out there. There are plenty of bulls. So.
All right, we're going to go to live bulls. Glenn,
right.
Thanks for being with us. I'll be back with Jerry Hargis in just a second.
Thanks, guys.
Jeff Bressler along with Jerry Hargis. 90 bulls will be bucking today here in Glen Rose. As mentioned, $100,000 on the line, $25,000 to the winning bull. First bull out is going to be a bull named Jungle Wizard, owned by Bob Wisnat and the Janes Gang.
Jeff, this is a little 2-year-old bull. It goes back to Straight Jacket. Was a great producer of Futurity Bulls. This is a nice little bull. Start off the event right here. You know, a good solid bull, good solid out. Turns back right there, has some action, gets it on right there.
Well, Wisnat, Janes Gang, Jungle Wizard. This bull already has some money on his sheet. Jerry Hargis earned $20,000 by finishing second in the Janes Gang Champions Tour Futurity, 86 3/4 points. Here we see the replay on Jungle Wizard as we wait for the score.
Jeff, we're going to see how the scoring's going off. You know, 86 1/4 is what he's been in the past. He could possibly be that, but I don't think it's going to be quite that high today. But like I say, to start the event off, really good, solid bull right here.
So 86 1/4, as Jerry Hargis mentioned, good solid bull there with a nice score. Coming up next, Cardiac Kid, owned by Dick and Catherine Dial out of Aztec, New Mexico, in the Janes Gang.
Jeff, we've seen a lot. He's getting a lot of weight on him, getting a lot of muscle on him. He really looks good, but you know, today he was a little than you really want to see. You know, didn't have that kick and extension like you need to score up there high. But you know, he turns back right. You got to be proud of that bull, not you know, having his best day, but good solid trip either way.
So that was Cardiac Kid. Jerry Hargis, in terms of judging, when you put bulls in competition, what do you feel about when you lead things off?
Well, you know, it's tough to lead things off with a really good bull. You know, sometimes the judge might not be awake yet. You know, you might not get as much as you want. But I have seen bulls be the first one out of 120 and win the whole event.
Next pair of Rockin' J bulls, Matt Jones, First Instinct. That's the next bull up at a left-hand delivery. So 86 1/4 lead bull Jungle Wizard, only gone through a couple of bulls, but he holds the lead with that score.
Jeff, this bull here is entered in basically a separate side pot. There's an incentive for bulls that sold at this sale last year as yearlings, and this bull is one of them. So there's an additional $10,000 up for grabs for these bulls here.
Couple of different incentives going on, and that's what makes the Carlton Marty Fouch sale even more exciting, as Jerry Hargis is mentioning. Let's take a look at this bull. We'll discuss that. Rockin' Jay's First Instinct.
This bull's here, he starts out right there, but just kind of flat, doesn't have that extension, that kick like you need, to get in. Probably not going to earn a paycheck today.
So as Jerry was Texas Breeders' Classic incentive, if you've purchased a bull in the past at Texas Breeders' Classic sale, that pays 3 holes, $5,000, $3,000, $2,000 in addition to the purse money being offered. Also something called the Mississippi Flash bonus, and that's for bulls that were sold in the sale that were bred by Fred Robinson. That's another $10,000 incentive, so a lot of side money on the line here. Rockin' Jay, Matt Jones, another bull coming up named Marty.
85-75 on the last one.
85 and 3/4. Marty, nice bull, sitting right around the top 15 in UBBI points so far here in 2014. So Marty coming up next. Big prom here at the Somerville Expo Center last night. Jerry Hargis wrangled a invitation to be a chaperone so he could make a couple of trips through the buffet line there. How was that prom? You have a good time there. 85 and 3/4 once again, First Instinct. And it is amazing, Jerry Hargis, how deep bull talent is when you really do look at the number of futurities that have been held over the last month, and you're not seeing bulls appear in all of them, and just pen after pen of studs at all.
Yeah, to tell you what, in a lot of them, we've got 90 bulls here today. We just had a huge ABBI event, just had a huge UBBI event. There's just hundreds of bulls out there competing.
Nice solid bull there in Marty.
Really nice bull. That was a lot better than that last one. He had that kick and extension, kind of like you want to see for Judge, and has that whip and spin, and he really gets around there. Really nice, solid little bull right there.
There's a business-like bull that went out and just does his thing and got it done. A score coming in here from waiting on the score. Pair of Jerry and Aaron Halpane bulls coming up next. 87 and a quarter for Marty, so that moves Marty into the early lead. Up to bull 5 of 90. This is 202 BMC.
Bull, sure enough, not have his day, just kind of goes down the pin, But as we were talking about these incentives earlier, Jeff, the great thing about that is if you're in one of these incentives, you don't necessarily have to beat all 90 bulls. You might only have to beat the 10 or 20 that's in your specific event. So you may get, on down 15th in the overall event, but you can still win a couple thousand in the incentives.
Our good friend Glenn Carlton talking to us about the sale last night. It was a pretty stout sale in terms of money that some of these bulls brought. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Next bull coming up, 68.5 was the score for 202 BMC. Coming up next, Thunderstruck, also owned by Jerry and Aaron Halpane. This bull finished 4th in the National Buck and Bull Day final, collected $5,000 there. Recently appeared in the UBBI Gold Standard, Big Bull Thunderstruck.
This bull's been really good in the past, Jeff. He goes back to Cowboy Cut, which is throwing some good futurity calves. And on the bottom, he goes to Prime Time, really good good plumber type bred bull. You know, has a good solid trip right there. You know, not his best trip that we've seen. He kind of fades across there and gets out. He might lose a few points right there. He gets in on really good right here out there at the gate, and then kind of floats across there and takes him a second to get right back into it. But, you know, he should get a good score either way.
Waiting on a score for Thunderstruck. Wow, 87 3/4. Then now Jaron Aaron Halpane's Thunderstruck moves to the lead. If you compare those two trips between Marty 87 1/4 and this bull 87 3/4, what do you think got that bull that extra quarter of a point?
I think what they like, Jeff, is that bull really got in the air coming out there. You know, that first jump was really steep. And then throughout the event, you know, even though he kind of faded across there, he's still really getting in there. And, you know, you never know how a set of judges is going to start a set of bulls, but it looks like they're looking for those bulls that are showing getting in there.
Coming up next, we have Don Greg Carpenter and Greg's Tatum Knights. This bull scored an 83.5 at the UBBI Spring Spectacular.
You know, definitely not what you want to see when you bring a bull to town.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of on the top side. That bull's out of a Kish bred bull. And, you know, he kind of just can't get anything going. You know, can't really figure out what to do, kind of loses his feet. And then from there, it just kind of gets worse, you know.
Waiting on a score for Tatum Knights. Once again, current point leader Thunderstruck, 87 3/4 points. And man, to be young, Jerry Hargis, Aaron Halpane made it from the back of the chutes where he was flanking that bull into the grandstand right below our press box in about 2 seconds. Man, that's a fast boy.
They say he's a pretty good high school athlete, too.
I'd say so. Coming up next, Carpenter and Hudgens and their bull Jailbreaker.
$61.5 on the last bull, $61.5. You know, like I say, he comes out there and stumbles, and just nothing really went right for the bull.
So flanking up our next bull, once again, bull named Jailbreaker. Mid-packer in the UBBI Gold Standard. 140 bulls were in that event. Finishing right around 60th there.
Kind of seeing some quite a few bulls that aren't having their trip. You know, usually we don't see this many that early, but you know, it's one of those days. Sometimes bulls just overall kind of off, and sure enough today, having several bulls that sure enough aren't having their trip.
Now let's take a look at the Texas Breeders' Classic, Jerry Hargis. This is an event where you have to nominate in advance. So a lot of bulls that might have been peaking recently just don't have the opportunity to get into an event like this.
Yeah, that's right. You had to start paying a year ago as these bulls are yearlings. Sometimes when a bull's really good as a yearling, by this time he's not nearly as good, or vice versa. So, you know, it's hard to pick a bull and stay with him the whole entire year and know exactly what you got.
Coming up next, bull owned by Matt Griffin's Ramblin' Verl Ranch. It's Handsome Jeff. Matt out of Stephenville, Texas, flanking that bull.
Matt's got the camo shorts, soccer jersey, and flip-flops today.
Flip-flops and no hat.
Hey, really nice bull right
we've
here.
seen this bull buck in the past, Jerry Hargis.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. It's the best.
Bull can be really good. He went out a few too many jumps, you know, but then once he gets in that spin, he's really good. You know, it really gets vertical and gets some air spin right there. Just really good, nice bull.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Like I said, I've seen this bull buck 2 or 3 times in the past. This is certainly his most stellar effort. Nice trip.
That bull's not up for any incentive, so he's going to have to do it on his own. And, you know, 85 3/4, Jeff. You know, that might get him a paycheck. You know, today I really think you probably need to be 86.5 or above to get in there in the pay window. But, you know, we'll see how that score pans out. 3
bulls now coming up from TLW Bucking Bulls at a South Texas. Tracy L. Williams, first bull's Red Rooster, being flanked by Mike White. I don't even see Tracy up behind the chutes. So once again, 85 3/4 for Handsome Jeff. Is Thunderstruck still setting the pace at 87 3/4.
Red Rooster, nice solid bull, goes out and goes, pretty nice in the spin. Doesn't have a ton of kick, doesn't have a lot of air. So just probably a good solid average bull is going to kind of be in there with the other ones. Off really good in that, kind of flattens out just a little bit. So see how you right around that mid 80s, I imagine.
Man, last time we were broadcasting Jerry Hargis, we were in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania for some Zebra Bowl action. 86.5, nice score for Red Rooster. It's nice to be back at a futurity where we hear each other loud there.
Yeah, they had a crowd there.
I mean, when you go to a futurity, it's sort of like going to a golf tournament. Hold up the when the ball. It's just very relaxing.
Yeah.
Coming up next, another Tracy Williams entry. This bull named Mud Rising, 2146.
Jeff, this is a Mossy Oak Mugslinger son right here. That last bull was out of a Hotel California son. So right here, two back-to-back bulls, so some really good Page genetics.
I love Mossy Oaks, one of my favorite futurity sires. Gene Baker coming around here and breaking equipment. Appreciate it, Gene. Thank you. Microphone only costs $500 or $600. Not only is Aaron Halpane running around, he's also serving his father breakfast here at sea. This is Mud Rising coming up next.
Another good bull from Tracy Williams, TLW Bucking Bulls. They brought a couple really good bulls to town. Now, I guarantee if a bull shows up with TLW, they're going to be built well and they're going to be fed well. I mean, this thing's got some muscle. I mean, for a 2-year-old bull, he really looks good.
Tracy Williams among a whole group now of female both stock contractors and trainers who are in the industry and doing very, very well. 85 3/4. Nice solid score there for Mud Rising.
I think that 85 3/4 already had 3 bulls. That's kind of the standard today.
So the third Tracy Williams bull in here, back in black, coming up.
He's 86 so far. He's out of a bull called West Coast Charlie, and on the bottom side goes back to Sports Machine. Right there again, I mean, they put 3 solid bulls together. Look at the muscle tone in this bull right here. I mean, this bull is ripped. He's an athlete, just a beautiful animal right there. I mean, the way they do such a good job of the nutrition on these bulls and exercise them. Another good solid bull should be right there. Kind of scored the last few bulls. Really solid bull.
Going to get ready for our next bull here in a moment as we wait for the score and for black and 85 straight 85-point score there. So a great effort by the 3 Tracy Williams entries here. Johnson Bucking Bulls coming up next. Easy and Bateman Bucking Bulls. The Shocker 217. So 2 bulls cracking 87 points. Thunderstruck 87 3/4 in the lead. Marty sitting second, 87 1/4.
It's kind of a showy little bull, Jeff. He gets in there a little bit. But the only thing I didn't like about him is the back stays flat, and he doesn't have that kick and that extension that you really need to wow the judges. But a neat little bull right here. I just don't think he's going to score enough to get himself to the pay window.
have that score for you in a moment. Coming up next is going to be a bull named Wilder Than Water, owned by Bioko Buckers and the Janes Gang. And Jerry Hargis, we always like to see this bull buck in terms of Buck and Bull TV, because the syndicate that owns this bull, Bioko Buckers, is actually a group of guys in the oil industry that are in the Bioko Islands in Africa and watch us live from Africa to see their bull buck every time he bucks on Buck and Bull TV.
Yeah, this is a son of Wildfire. It was a really good PBR bull several years back. It's been a really good bull. He has days that's better than the others. His only thing is sometimes he goes out a few too many jumps before he turns back. But usually when this bull does turn back, he's really impressive.
Which means if you get off the plane like in Johannesburg, you'll be mobbed in the airport. So I'm just warning you. Next time you go to South Africa, be prepared with Sharpie for autographs. Wilder Than Water up next. A little bit sluggish there.
You're right, Jeff. He's a little sluggish right there. Started out for really good. That first jump was just amazing. And then, what I like, though, he did turn back right there in the gate, which is great. That bull's kind of been going out a few. But then the bull, for whatever reason, he just kind of had just kind of a slow day. It takes him a while to pop back after each jump. He kind of lands and hesitates for a split second. But so he might not score real high. We'll see how the judges go right here. But, he's going through the motions well. He just needs a little more intensity.
Real nice bull coming up next. This is JC's Dream Team. JC Meade, Valerie and Luke Meade out of Thermopolis, Wyoming, and the Janes Gang. Icy Hot was in the ABBI event last week, scored 87 3/4, finishing 9th there. So we're going to see a real nice bull here in Icy Hot that proved himself last week in the UBBI event.
This bull, Jeff, we've seen a lot. He has a ton of potential, but that's kind of his deal every time. It seems like every time some little variable goes wrong and causes him not to have his best day. But you can see right there, he's got so much potential right there. Gets himself hung up just a tad, and goes out across there. Really good right there, and just kind of has just a few bobbles here and there, but really talented bull right there.
JC Meade, a young lady with autism who really just loves the Buck and Bull industry, had a chance to flank her first bulls ever in Las Vegas during National Buck and Bull Day. 85 1/4. And there's another one of those 85 1/4 type scores. Fred Robinson, who did so well in selling bulls at last night's sale, has the first of two here. R808, owned by Fred Robinson, B&S Buck and Bulls, and Henry Mladenka.
Yeah, I think this bull takes just a little too long to get started right here. And nice bull once he gets into it. But as you're saying, this is Jeff Robinson bull. He sells bulls every year at this sale here. Sells them as yearlings. They come back the next year and buck for big money. And so he puts an extra incentive in. So on top of the $10,000 for being in the sale, they get an additional $10,000 for being a Fred Robinson bull. So these bulls right here are only competing against themselves. You're only going to compete against 10 or 12 other bulls and have a chance at a lot of money.
85. So as Jerry Hargis is saying, right around that 85-point mark, where we've seen a lot of these bulls settle in. And last night, Jerry Hargis, speaking of Fred Robinson, he had high-priced bull in the sale, $19,000. Bull by the sire Wild Knights, who's the sire of the great bull Karaoke, was purchased for $19,000 by Elite Buck and Bulls that own Karaoke. Fred Robinson, Henry Mladenka, B&S Buck and Bulls right back here. R803, the next bull of Buck.
This bull right here is a Blueberry Wine grandson, so he's got some really good genetics here. Another bull that come from Fred Robinson in both his incentive and the Texas Buck and Bull incentive. This is a big stout bull for a 2-year-old, Jeff, and And it kind of shows he's almost a little bit too big for his body right now. He's just kind of slow, just gets out there and goes through the motions, but just doesn't have that intensity that we need to see to really get up there in the high 80s.
Just a personal question on what I saw at the sale last night, Jerry. There were a number of bulls that were Mayborn bulls, Mayborn yearlings, which obviously are kind of on the small end. Is it just coming up 83, the score for that bull? Is it just coming up on the first year of their life? How does that translate when they turn 2? Does being born, it might be a disadvantage in their yearling year, but is it helpful in the 2-year-old year in that size-wise and development-wise?
Yeah,
sometimes it's better maybe to be a little behind.
Yeah, if you're going for only futurity bulls, Vegas is really late in the year, and your bull could still be, younger and maybe, really athletic at that age. So everybody's got a different viewpoint on it. Obviously some people have them Mayborn calves, and it sure can work either way.
Is Bridges, Smith, and Brown, B&S 449 coming up next.
This bull right here goes back to Panel Slim, Scat Cat, and Blenderhead, so some really good genetics behind this bull right here.
Bull finishing 30th back in a gold standard a few weeks ago. When you say 30th, Jerry Hargis, that doesn't sound great, but when you're going against 140 bulls.
Yeah, it's not nearly as bad.
Puts you in the top 20% there.
I think they paid 20 or 25 holes, so, being 30th, you're just barely out of the money.
Things moving along at a nice pace here in beautiful Glen Rose, Texas. This is one of the nicer venues to buck bulls. I always enjoy coming to the Somerville County Expo Center. Real nice facility. Nice covered pens, beautiful arena and grandstand. Great concessions. Jerry Hargis, great concessions.
Oh, yeah. It's one of my top priorities.
Jerry Hargis, you never know what's going to happen. We were riding back from Pennsylvania. I was sleeping in the truck, woke up, we're in front of a statue of Arnold Schwarzenegger in Cologne. I thought I was dreaming. I couldn't believe that you're running around like a lunatic taking pictures of an Arnold Schwarzenegger statue.
Yeah, if you're going to be on a road trip, might as well have a good time.
My friend, I love going on the road with you. You pick the best restaurants, the best tourist attractions to visit. It's just a lot of fun traveling with Jerry Hargis. Eating a Man vs. Food restaurant. Wasn't that great, though?
No, it wasn't.
I think Man vs. Food is quantity over quality.
Yeah, we didn't try the 100-ounce milkshake in 20 minutes.
Who was that, in Indianapolis? I think
Yeah.
it was in Indianapolis.
Had a little trouble with the young bull. He's wanting to lay down right here, trying to work with him, get him up.
Wow.
I've got a
rescore on Thunderstruck. It's only benefited the Halpanes, goes up to 88 points.
So now he definitely leads the event. He already did, but he's cushioning his lead a little bit. And, what's interesting, like we're talking about, you don't have to beat every bull. The bull that's 87 1/4 is in an incentive, so he's actually in the lead in an incentive, although he's not in the lead in the overall event. So, with whatever he wins, he could win an additional $5,000 in that incentive he's in.
So Jerry Halpane sitting just a few rows in front of the press box here, his smile getting even larger as he gets a little bit more of a cushion there, going from 87 3/4 to 88 points. Still waiting on that B&S 449. Bridges, Smith, and Brown.
Jose Bridges, guy's been raising bulls for a long time. Shows up to a lot of charities, has had some success. Looks like they're fixing to get this bull out right here. He's just looking at the back of the chute, just not really wanting to cooperate today. Pretty good, solid bull.
So.
Like we've seen a lot of these bulls today, just really good, solid. Doesn't show anything, just really flashy to make him jump up in that leaderboard. But definitely, a bull that can contend with a money spot right there. You never know exactly how much energy they put out.
Expend when
when they're
they spend
in
that amount of
big, stout black horse pull these bulls out. I'm telling you what, that horse is massive, and he can pull a bull out.
I always like to watch Tyler work with his horses. Man, this Bill wasn't cooperative in the chute, nor is he cooperative in the arena once the dummy came off. Nice job, Tyler.
84 3/4.
Nice score there, 84 3/4.
Not quite as much. I thought he might be closer to the 85.5 or so, but either I didn't think that's a right there below 86. I don't think he's going to pick up a check. So
Danny and Rhea Johnson's bull coming up next. J189 Little Johnson.
This bull right here is a grandson of Backlash, which has just kicked out a ton of really, really good bulls. Page bred bull, and then on the bottom side I have a Cooper's Comet cow. So really good combination here. I think the Backlash has done really good for the Page as well as a lot of other people.
Speaking of the Pages, got a couple of D&H studs coming up back to back right after this bull bucks. End of this month, Memorial Day weekend, Buck and Bull TV will be on the road once again, going down to the Janes Gang Ranch in Orchard, Texas for their annual Buck Day and Barbecue. Classic action on Friday night. Saturday, you're going to see a bunch of yearling bulls bucking for the first time ever, as well as Champions Tour Champions class event.
Just sure not a very good out for that bull today. Just going to have to go recoup and settle back up and figure out what he's going to do in the future right there.
Just tucking those hind legs in. Not getting any real kicker extension there. So that's Danny and Rhea Johnson's Little Johnson. $71 the score there. Coming up next, D&H Cattle Company, Mo and Rusty Bandy's. Bandy's Bad Boy finished 5th in the National Buck and Bull Day Championship in Las Vegas during the Academy of Country Music there, earning $5,000. Owned by, of course, the great country singer, Mo Bandy. We had the opportunity to chat with in Las Vegas. D&H Cattle Company just so deep in talent, including a great bull 2103 that we're going to see appear a little later on this afternoon.
This bull didn't have his best day out there in Vegas, but can be really, really good.
Solid improvement over what we saw in Las Vegas from Bandy's Bad Boy.
Yeah, really good, solid out right there. He just has, he has some speed. He has some spins right there in the gate. He has some nice kick. The only thing he didn't do is really get his front end off the ground, but, I think that would be a score that should get him up there in the top 10. Mo, for as long as he's been around, as long as he's been singing, he hasn't lost his voice yet. Still has a really, sung out there in Las Vegas for us,
We're in Las Vegas, and Mo Bandy was singing out there, and there was just so much noise, and the guy showed what a professional he was, man. He just didn't lose a beat and just sounded great. 90 points. 90 points. New leader there for D&H Cattle Company. Another real nice bull coming up for D&H that could also score in that type of a range, and that's 56Z. 56Z finished second National Buck and Bull Day Championship, earning $12,000 for D&H Cattle Company and the Moore Cattle Company. That's. Did y'all still want to do Aaron or no?
There's another bull, Jeff, that we've seen be extremely good. And then, in Vegas, he didn't have a great day. Today doesn't have just a really great day. But a bull that's got a ton of talent. It goes back to the Scholes Playboy, a bull that was bull of the NFR back in the 90s. So this bull's got really good genetics, really good solid bull. It can be a lot better than he has today. Still kind of surprised about that 90-point score. I mean, that's really good bull,
I was
but
surprised
90,
too,
that's...
When you look at him against Thunderstruck, you might question those two scores. Solid score, 86 and a half. Billy Wolf and Marty Fouch. Next bull up, R819. R819. Once again, Bandy's Bad Boy now with the lead at 90 points. And just comparing that bull with Thunderstruck, who's sitting second in points for the Halpane family, 88 points. Sitting third currently is Marty from Rockin' J.
Those bulls just really big and then gets really flat. He just looks way too big and full today. Yeah, that bull right there is an on top, granddaughter on the bottom side. So good breeding, but bull's just really big and just didn't get anything going, didn't get a lot of kick, you know. Be a bull that's really high.
And a half points. Kevin Wallace, his son Chase. Little G coming up next.
Another A6 grandson on top of a Cowboy granddaughter on the bottom side. And this bull's in both incentives, and so this bull's got a shot at 3 different paychecks.
So this bull purchased at the Texas Breeders' Class L, and also Fred Robinson bred bull. This is Jerry Hargis mentioned incentive on this bull.
You know, we hadn't seen any of the Fred Robinson bulls be really good yet, and so this bull, you know, has a shot at getting a check in that incentive. You know, as far as we'll see what the score is, it be high enough to get too far up in the overall futurity of the
83 and a half points. Robinson incentive paying 2 holes $6,000 and $4,000. Solid ownership here in Carpenter and Barnett. William Billy Barnett. 231 Cracker Jack Gangster.
This bull's out of Cowtown Gangster, a current PBR short round bull we've been seeing here lately. And then on the bottom side is out of a Big Bucks cow. So, I mean, some really great genetics there that we're seeing, you know, active right now. Cowtown Gangster is just a huge, big, stout bull that we've seen be really good. You know, Renato rode him just the other day for 90-plus points. Just really good bull.
You know, speaking of great bred bulls, Marty Fouch is going to be hosting the Teague Buck and Bull dispersal sale. Bull getting hung up there. Rough trip.
Yeah, those young bulls, once they get hung up coming out of there, it seems like they just never can quite get it going. You know, they get too close to that chute and then just cause him to keep going straight right there, and just doesn't have near enough time to get himself gathered back up and get going.
As I was mentioning, Marty Fouch on June the 3rd in Fort Worth, Texas, hosting the Teague Buck and Bull dispersal sale. Tom Teague just dispersing. I've been asking around. I don't know. You know, Tom has been winding down over the last few years, but that should prove to be a spectacular sale. 74 3/4. I mean, when you look, because you were just discussing a PBR, and when you look at the type of genetics there are in the Teague Buck and Bull program and some of the bulls that's produced, that should become a very significant sale.
Yeah, probably going to be the top buyers in the whole industry going to be there watching that sale.
Next bull up, Carpenter and Powell, CP 293, Rambo Sports Rivet. Rambo Sports Rivet coming up next. Bandy's Bad Boy currently in the lead, 90 points. Thunderstruck, 88 points. Rockin' J's Marty, 87 1/4 points.
This bull here on the bottom side is out of a Sports Machine daughter. You know, that's a bull we've seen in a lot of genetics throughout these futurity bulls. Well, he started good, and then
It started real
he
good.
took off. And I don't know if you saw the flank man in the background. About the time he took off, he just kind of took his hat out. Like, man, what is that guy doing?
Man, that was the agony and the ecstasy. That his first couple of jumps out, man, looked like he was going to crack the top of the leaderboard, but then he just
Then it kind of all went south
Yeah,
in
it
her.
went
You know,
south.
these little guys, you never know what they're thinking. You know, he's really getting into it, and right about here, you thinking I'm fixing to be payday, and then he changes his mind and just goes straight.
look up behind the
Yeah, the
chute.
flank man. He's
One more time on that, Joel. We got to get that flank man reaction. We very look at the reaction of people behind the chutes, but he's like real confident, hand on. Oh man, I love it.
Always like glancing in the background and seeing the flank man. You know, some of these flank men, the bull really gets bucking. They'll go to dancing back there, and that guy he takes his hat off in disgust right there. But 78 points, not going to get him a check today.
Gene Baker and J&J Supply field in the next bull 2017, JJ 2017. First bull we're seeing by Gene Baker and his Homestead Genetics.
This is a son of Last Call, which many of you know. He's a fantastic futurity bull in his day.
Last Call, of course, with Great Houdini Genetics. Gene Baker owned the Great Houdini.
Gene had an online sale this past week, sold 60 head there. Really did good. You know, some bulls that brought a lot of money, you know, sold half interest in a lot of bulls. This bull here's got a lot of action potential, you know, but just doesn't really stick in a spin right there. But, you know, he's got the kick and comes around there. Just not a lot of intensity, but really good bull. It's got a lot of potential. I'm sure Gene would be happy seeing this bull today. You know, got a lot of hope for the future.
85 and a quarter. Man, so many bulls, as Jerry Hargis would mention, and packed around that 85 and a quarter mark. 27th out of 90 bulls. Living the high life. Travis Medvey coming up next. Back-to-back bulls for Travis.
This bull right here is a Super Dave grandson on top, which many of you know that Super Dave kind of one of the foundation bulls of the Page Genetics. Now on the bottom side out of a Spook granddaughter, the great Raptor 7 bred bull.
That's going to be exciting when we go down to the Janes Gang Ranch. Get a lot of customers there watching their bulls as yearlings buck for the first time. Obviously, you want to get involved in the exclusive genetic program. Talking about higher-end bulls that could go on to make $1 million and compete in champions kind of tour events. So a lot of folks holding their breath to watch those bulls buck for the first time ever. And you'll be seeing it live on Buck and Bull TV.
I tell you what, when you own a bull that has a chance of winning $500,000 at one single event, you know, every time he bucks, I would think you'd have to get pretty nervous. Well, they buck probably 4, 5, 6 times maybe before that big marquee event, you know, but each one they can win 10
Win
to
big
20,
money.
30,000 each event. You know, those bulls just have so much earnings potential, but to get that single check for $500,000 would have to be an amazing feeling.
Yeah, what makes the exclusive genetic program extra special is it's basically closed type of futurities, and so you might not be competing against the type of bulls you're seeing like in the Texas Breeder Classic here, but certainly a bull like we're looking at all these bulls that are right around that 85-point mark in the Janes Gang program and the exclusive genetic program. Get an 85, you could collect a major kind of check. Living a high life, as we mentioned, coming up next out of the right-hand delivery.
Another little young bull having a little bit of trouble with, wanting to lay down and shoot right there. Going to take a few extra minutes here.
Todd Greenway doing the music here. Love listening. Todd always has a real nice music mix.
Yeah.
Our good friend Terry Sarnes doing the in-house announcing here. Great voice, great guy.
Yeah, great crew. I was talking to some of the guys in the back pins. I mean, they've got an all-star crew here. I mean, you've got all the best guys in the business working here today in the back pins, the
Hayden Shore is one of the best guys. Well, I guess he is. Yeah, I'll give him credit.
I hate to give him too much credit, but anyway, you got Dean Wilson here helping putting on dummies. Just a really good set of guys. Like I say, Terry Starnes does a great job in-house announcing. Todd Greenway does really good at the big screen.
Woo.
That bull was wide open towards.
That almost wiped out one of our cameras here. And the cameraman didn't move a muscle. That's impressive.
That bull kicked the lights out, but just went straight. Man,
that cameraman had nerves of steel. When we were in Las Vegas, bull came close to our broadcasting position, and you ended up on Las Vegas Boulevard in about 2 seconds. 47.5, obviously. Type of score you would expect for that kind of effort. Next bull up, 122, Travis Medvig. See if this bull fares a little better in his first entry, living a high life. Yeah, Terry's mentioned, we didn't even mention that left-hand delivery shoot's a Buck and Bull TV shoot.
Yeah.
That's impressive. There we look at our top 5. Bandy's Bad Boy 90, Thunderstruck 88, Marty 87 1/4. Red Rooster 4th, 5th with 56Z. D&H Cattle Company 56Z 86 1/2. But when you're going through 90 bulls, Jerry Hargis, rolling up to 28, nothing's for certain.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that 86 1/2, they'll be looking for that to stay in there.
Yeah.
When you're not even halfway through and you've already got a 90 and 88, it's going to be a tough day. And you still got some of the stingers left. I mean,
a lot of big stingers.
Here we go.
I like that how that bull started, but he's kind of weakened a little bit there. A nice little bull, and I love when you watch these bulls run to see the ripple in their muscle. Just such athletes, amazing. They're on such great feed programs, and this little bull really tries hard. Kind of every time he comes down, he stumbles. Not really stumbles, but his feet slip just a tad. He's really wanting to buck really hard.
Yeah, you could see that. Just take a look at the bull, and you see the determination in a bull. He has more determination and athletic ability, but gives it his best try. Definitely. The bull's giving it his best try. 85 points. Casey Yates bull coming up next. 29th bull to buck today. 211, Yates 211. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Casey Yates has won a Texas Breeders' Classic in the past. I'll have to look that up, but I'm almost sure he did. 2007, Smooth Criminal.
You're not going to win today off that one. Another bull just kind of has an off day, scatters across there. Not going to get scored too high.
So that was Yates 211 as we wait for a score on him. $59 3/4. Todd Bosch coming up next. Broken Turbo. I would say a son of Turbo, most probably. Turbos are a lot of turbos always in the Texas Breeder Classic sale.
Yeah, one of the marquee bulls of the Fouch breeding program for the last several years has really kicked out a ton of bulls that have been really good. Like I say, there's some in this sale over here right here, and they always come back and do really well at this futurity.
So bar F21, Broken Turbo.
It was another one of these little bulls, starts out pretty good, and then sure enough weakens, kind of flattens out across there. So I don't think he'll get a high enough score to be up there in the top rankings. But little bull, if he can, they'll probably take the bull home and maybe give him a little break and start bucking him again. And if he can kind of stick like he was that first jump or so, but that bull just really weakened there in the end, and not going to be a bull that's going to win anything at futurity with that kind of trip right there.
Of course, Turbo, the sire of the great bull Tuve that won a bunch of futurities last year. I didn't get that. Did you get that score, Jerry?
Not yet, Jerry.
Mike White, Tracy Williams coming up with another bull here. Two bar 70. Tracy Williams, her fourth entry here. This one ownership shared with Mike White.
This bull here is a son of Sooner Shaker, the Page-bred bull. And on the bottom side, out of a cow that's out of DH79, which is the sire to Blueberry Wine. So, half sibling to Blueberry Wine.
We might be coming up on a drag in just a moment here.
Well, to me, looks just a little bit loose, almost like he's just almost maybe a tad bit overweight, and he kind of bucks like that too. Doesn't have just a ton of intensity. Gets it on right there and turns back and kicks and spins a little bit, but not near fast enough and intense enough to get in there in the high scores.
So waiting on a score here. $84 3/4. Another Mike White entry here. 2-6, 2-6, 3 in a row for Mike White. Coming out of the left side. Fair effort there for 2-6.
Yeah, it was a good solid bull. He kind of gets stronger as he goes. Definitely doesn't weaken. Goes out there a little far, but then once he turns back, a really nice bull. The only thing you say that bull really needs is more extension in his kick. One of the categories of judging is kick, and those back legs have to come up, but they also have to extend out straight, kind of get up over their head to really get those high points in that category.
As Jerry Hargis is mentioning, judging 5 categories: buck, kick, spin, intensity, and degree of difficulty. 85 points. Solid score there for Mike White's 2-6. Another Mike White entry, 2-309. It's easy enough for us to say solid effort, Jerry Hargis, with an 85-point score, but not going to go to the pay window with that here today.
No, definitely not. Hey, right here is the
Big
son
spin.
of the great Hustler bull from Pages. Now on the bottom side, I have a Moody Blues cow, Bucking Bull of the Year, Moody Blues. Really good, solid bull, really fast across there, like I say, another bull that could use a little more kick, but it's got a ton of intensity, just gets it on right there, a lot of spin points, but just the only thing lacking is buck, getting up in that front end and then that extension in his kick right there. But nice bull, probably not going to be a one to stay in that top 10 to get a check. Well, I was wrong, Jeff.
Wow.
86 3/4, a lot better than I thought he might be.
Generous score there for Mike White's 2-309. Flying D-Bucking Bulls coming up next. A bull named All Liquored Up. That bull, I forgot who he was combined with in the Calcutta last night, but that Calcutta team went for a good price.
Good. This bull was 87 points at the CFT deal in Las Vegas here a while back. So this bull can score a lot of points.
Paul Daniel entry, his Flying D-Bucking Bulls.
Yeah, Yeah, so you know, kind of like the last bull. You know, he had the spin right there, had some speed to him. You know, didn't have just a ton of kick right there, but just a really nice little solid bull turns back right there.
Paul Daniel always coming to events with a nice bull, all liquored up. Certainly not going to break the top here, but reasonable effort. Another one of those bulls in that 85 and a quarter score. Number of bulls, as we mentioned, 85 and a quarter, 85 and a half, 85 and 3/4. Daisy Buck and Bulls, 8:14. Next bull, the buck. Proud to say, coming out of the Buck and Bull TV shoot.
Here's the bull. It's in both incentives, the Fred Robinson incentive as well as the TBC, the Texas British Classic incentive. If a guy happened to win all three categories, you know, you're looking at $35,000, $40,000
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
the payday here on these young futurity calves.
Well, in the Texas Breeders, you get $5,000, and in the Mississippi Flash, the Fred Robinson bonus, $6,000. So $11,000 additional if you were in both those incentives.
Mike Rawson flanked that bull right there. You know, kind of just goes out way too far down the pen to really be much on the points. And when he turns back, he's nothing. Just extremely exciting. You know, just a good spinning bull right there.
Two back-to-back Mike Rawson, Chase Fouch entries. As you mentioned, Mike Rawson, 2013 CBR Stock Contractor of the Year. Now, I was talking to Mike briefly last night and asking him how his bulls were. He said, I got one good one. So we're going to watch both Rawson's bulls now. We'll have to determine which the good one was. 76 and a quarter.
Yeah,
123 coming up first.
That old adage of don't brag before you bucks, you know.
Well, he didn't commit himself. He said, I got one out of two good ones. So
Yeah.
We'll see what we got here.
Pretty nice little bull right
That could have
there.
been the one.
Yeah,
that could have been the
was a
one of
really
his
nice
two that he
bull.
says real nice.
You know, that first jump, that bull really kicks, really blows out of there really hard. You know, and then I thought he was going to have to kind of go down the pin a little bit. It took him a couple jumps, but then once he got back in that spin, pretty dang nice bull.
That bull could conceivably get up there towards the top 5. Wait on the score.
Yeah, he had as much or more kick than a lot of bulls have so
That's
far.
for sure.
That extension.
87 and 3/4. So that certainly puts Mike Rawson's 123 on with Chase Fouch up into the top of the leader, up into those top 5. 121 coming up next, Mike Rawson, Chase Fouch. Now suppose this is the one that Rawson thought was the best.
Yeah, this bull's been marked 87 and a half, so he could have two bulls.
He could
in
have
the
two
top
bulls
5.
in the top 5.
87 3/4 unofficially third place right now.
Yep. Pops Rockin' Jay's Marty at a third place. Another tough little bull there.
That was a pretty nice bull,
I'd
Jeff.
say
I
so.
thought he was really good. I mean, he got it on right there in the gate, had a lot of kick, spin, intensity. I mean, he really gets it on right there. Keeps up with it. Doesn't weaken towards the end. Has one jump kind of weak there at the end, but I think it's kind of after the buzzer there. I mean, every one of that bull's jumps and
Now
kicks
you-
are really good.
Now you got me watching everybody behind the chutes. Watch Mike Rawson. He does like that boxing head fake on every spin. Just one. So great effort for Two bulls brought here by Mike Rawson and Chase Fouch. 123.87 and 3/4. Now we're waiting on a score 88 and 3/4. Wow, so that's two bulls there that cracked the top 5 for Mike Rawson. Chad Raymer rocking Arbuckle bulls, E26.
You know, if he had stayed in it right there, that would have been another contender right there. He kind of jumps out of it, takes a little bit of extra jump there before he gets back in the spin. Kind of see how the judges are going to dock him if all right there.
So complexion of the leader, 85.5 there for that Raymer bull. So the complexion of the leaderboard really has changed over the last few bulls with the 2 entries of Rawson and Fouch. Hot Mambo coming up next, owned by Chad Raymer and Rockin' J Buckham Bulls. Once again, Bandy's Bad Boy on the top. I'm telling you who's getting bounced out of the top 5, but still sitting on top. Bandy's Bad Boy, 90 points. High score of the day.
Yo, Jeff, it's never a good sign when the bull's not even done bucking and the flank man's already got his back turned to the arena.
And the bull's bellowing and saying, "Get me out of here!" Yeah, look at that.
He didn't turn completely around.
We got to watch that again. Yo, watch this. Watch that flank man. Now I'm heading to the restaurant across the street, man.
See if they serve margaritas.
That's right. Man, they got that restaurant across the street here, you know, the little restaurant, Roadhouse?
Yeah.
Seemed like it was closed last night. I was in a panic because it's such a great restaurant. But Rocky, that owns the restaurant, her 2 sons play high school golf, and she closes down the restaurant when they compete in a tournament. So they'll be open again today.
Tell you what, for no bigger than the town of Glen Rose is, they've got some really good restaurants. 2 really good barbecue places, a really good Cajun food place.
Yeah, they certainly do. Of course, Glen Rose is known for its historic, dinosaur fossilization of rocks and things here. So it's a big tourist town in addition to being a big cowboy town.
Crossfire Hurricane grandson right here. Well, Chad Raymer just had a bad day here, you know.
Yeah, I'd say
all
so.
All 3 of his bulls didn't buck very good. The bull just kind of falls around there. One of those days. You know, Mike Rawson had his day. Both of his are in the top 5, and then Raymer had 3 that were none of them had their day today.
And Raymer certainly no slouch as a breeder and trainer. So.
Oh, definitely, he's won his fair share, I guarantee you.
That's for sure. Chris Woodruff out of nearby Granbury, Texas, along with the Janes gang, have the next bull coming up, Comeback Kid, 61 1/4.
The Fever's Rising calf out of the exclusive genetics program.
This bull's had his ups and downs. I saw a tape of this bull buck practice section out on Janes Gang Ranch. I guess it was last week. Looked real good, stayed nice and close to the chute and got it on. See if he could do it today.
Yeah, this bull can be really good and then have those off days also.
Here we go.
Yeah, pretty nice day. You know, he started off, weakened a little bit, but started off really good. We'll see how the judges kind of mark him there. That first jump was extremely impressive. Then just kind of, I don't know if he got tied up in that dirt a little bit. It looks like he's getting just a tad deeper as these bulls go on, but just didn't finish up like he started.
I mean, it's a bull that's $1 million Buck and Bull Championship eligible. Jerry, we saw him out in Las Vegas. He ran off in the arena, and as I said, he trained last week, stayed close to the gate, did the same thing today. So that's got to be encouraging for Chris Woodruff as the $1 million Buck and Bull Championship preliminaries taking place in early September. Brad and Jamie Bays out of Fair Play, Colorado. The Janes gang on this next bull, Radioactive M217.
This bull's here, another one of those, just like the last one. We've seen him be really, really good, and then sometimes he's almost a little too wild, and he kind of has the off day.
86 was the score for Comeback Kid, and not the day for Radioactive today.
Well, that's just kind of him.
That's
he can
him.
be so good, and then some days he'll trip his feet up or he'll fall down or he'll do something. But 86 points on Comeback Kid, pretty good score.
Waiting on that score for Radioactive. We're going to have a couple more back-to-back Fred Robinson bowls. This is Robinson, Bridges, and Smith, R899. Obviously Robinson bred with the R899. Fred selling some partnerships in his bulls here. Guy that's getting closely aligned with Fred Robinson has an ex-bull up, Henry Mladenka, from near my home in Orchard, Texas, out of Patterson, Texas. Did you ever eat in Patterson, Texas, and Repkas during crawfish season?
No,
oh, man.
sure haven't.
That's the best. We got to go there when you come down for Buck Day and Barbecue.
Definitely.
You'll be in store for a treat.
I think I missed on that trip last year. Y'all went.
Yeah, we went. You
I
weren't.
missed out on that. I think Crawford took my spot.
Yeah, he
He
did.
tagged along.
He tagged along. Probably took about 40 pictures at a crawfish. Oh, he had alligator. I remember he had fried alligator. I think he did take a picture of that for Facebook.
Crawford, one of the judges here today.
I didn't even see him.
I think he's not as tall as the arena sign.
He's not.
so
No,
you
he's
didn't see
not.
him.
He's. You're right. He's back on the other side of the arena, below the Lucchese. They had to punch a couple of holes in the Lucchese boot sign for little eye slats for Justin Crawford. I like that. Man, explosive out of the
I'll
chute.
tell you what, really good bull. Got a lot of potential, ton of action, just didn't spin and probably won't score as high, but tell you what, for a bull down the road, that's the kind of bull I like to see right there. That bull wants to buck. He doesn't know exactly what to do, but he just knows to buck.
Just explosive.
That's a bull next year, and probably as a 4-year-old as a classic bull, that's going to be a really good bull right there. It may not be a futurity winner now, but hey, I like that bull right there.
Not a lot of talk all the time in futurity circles about Fred Robinson. Maybe one of the facts also is that he's out of Mississippi, which is not obviously in the mainstream. But Fred, in terms of what he breeds and what he brings to events, he's just got bucking sons of a gun.
Yeah, 79.25. I didn't figure the judges would like him, and you don't blame them for marking that. But I tell you what, I like that bull a lot right there for down the road.
Robinson Mladenka, B&S Bulls, R804 coming up next.
Here's a bull that's in both of those incentives we was talking about.
This is bull 44. Next bull will be coming up just about on the halfway mark. 90 bulls today. Nice form with that bull.
Hey, definitely. I like that bull, how he gets stronger towards the end.
Yeah.
You know, I thought he wasn't going to kick as much, and then this first jump in his spin, he doesn't kick a lot, and then here he goes, bam, he starts kicking, extending, getting better and better every time. And by the time that dummy comes off, I mean, he's kicking straight over his head.
And has an amazing final kick before the dummy was released. Watch that again.
And that's something, you know, as you're judging, when the bull finishes strong, that's got to help you out, you know, getting better scores.
Kind of score you'd expect there, 87 1/4 points. 87 1/4. Gary Hatchett, 285 coming up next. Going to do a drag of the arena after this as we've come up on the halfway mark, 45 of 90 bulls.
It's been an outstanding first half. I mean, we've already got a 90-point score, an 88, 87 3/4, another 88-point score in there. I mean, really good bulls overall.
A couple of 86s and
Bull definitely didn't have his day, you know. He kind of tried to turn back and then just kind of went straight, crashed shoot, and then that was all for the.
So that's 285. We'll get his score in just a moment. I'm going to do a quick arena drag here. Get back with the second half of action. From Glen Rose, Texas, you're watching the NBBA 13th Annual Texas Breeders' Classic in Glen Rose, and we'll be back after a word from a couple of our great Buck and Bull TV sponsors. You can own a bucking bull. No truck, no trailer, no ranch necessary. We do all the work while you have all the fun. Own an exclusive genetic $1 million bucking bull and take the journey of a lifetime, competing for close to $2 million in payouts. Compete in events just open to $1 million bulls. Compete for payouts that continue to be the highest in bucking bull history. Compete at premier events like the Academy of Country Music and the National Finals Rodeo. Join exclusive genetics customers from 41 states and 5 countries for the thrill of a lifetime by owning a bucking bull. Learn more about exclusive genetics at exclusivegenetics.com.
Welcome to our 52,272,000 square foot nutrition center, the home of the checkerboard. 1,200 acres of working farmland where we serve 3,000 animals every day to make each one the best they can be. It's more than a nutrition center. It's a 1,200-acre foundation for integrity, innovation, performance, and quality. The proof is in the numbers. Over 20,000 studies and more than 100 patents to perfect taste, nutrition, digestion, and performance. That's over 85 years of continuous learning, and it won't stop anytime soon. More than 100 employees in the pursuit of animal excellence year-round. We stand proudly with the checkerboard. It represents the 100 million animals we feed every day, and the reason we never stop striving to deliver what they need to grow and thrive, to produce and win. The proof is in the numbers. And it begins here with us. 1,200 acres, 9 squares, 1 commitment. Look for the checkerboard. It's the only check you need.
Join Bucking Bull TV for our next big event, the annual Jane's Gang Buck Day and Barbecue, May 23rd and 24th, live from the Jane's Gang Ranch in Orchard, Texas. Bull Riding Classic, futurity for bulls eligible for the $1 million Bucking Bull Championship, yearlings being bucked for the first time, and a big sale. Check BuckingBullTV.com or ExclusiveGenetics.com for the schedule and broadcast times. Join Bucking Bull TV for our next big event, the annual Jane's Gang Buck Day and Barbecue, May 23rd and 24th, live from the Jane's Gang Ranch in Orchard, Texas. Bull Riding Classic, futurity for bulls eligible for the $1 Million Bucking Bull Championship, yearlings being bucked for the first time, and a big sale. Check BuckingBullTV.com or ExclusiveGenetics.com for the schedule and broadcast times. Jeff Bressler, Jerry Hargis back at the Somerville Expo Center in Glen Rose, Texas. Come halfway in the Texas Breeders' Classic. And Jerry Hargis, let's take a look quickly at the leaderboard. Bandy's Bad Boy, owned by Dean H. Cattle Company, to lead 90 points. 121. It's a Mike Ross and Chase Fouch bull, 89 points. Jerry and Aaron Halpane's Thunderstruck, 88 points. 123. 87 3/4 points. That's another Ross and Fouch bull. And 227 Rockin' J. Marty, 87 1/4. So that's our top five, Jerry Hargis. And I think what's been impressive so far is, we have a couple of bulls. The cream has risen to the top, but the vast majority of bulls here have fallen into that 84, 85 point range. So we got a stout pen of bulls here.
Yeah, there's been a lot of bulls right there in that middle range of the 80s, but you know, only halfway through, and we've got some really, really outstanding scores right here. You know, 90 points, and we still got some really good bulls to go. So we're liable to see more than one 90-point score and a lot of 88 plus.
Let's talk about D&H Cattle Company. They're on top now in the bull also owned by Mo and Rusty Bandy. Bandy's Bad Boy, but I would say probably the premier futurity bull right now in the country. 2103 is still to come.
Yeah, well, one of the rankest bulls on any one given day, you know, but he could easily have an off day. But, you know, Page is going to bring some great bulls, and we've got seen some already, still got some later on. So a lot of bulls left that can really score high, Jeff.
Yeah, and I'd say that 2103, who was a yearling, won 50-something thousand, also won National Buck and Bull Day. That bull early into his 2-year-old season, $75,000 to the positive, just about, for D&H Cattle Company.
Yeah, definitely. That's just
the Teague Buck and Bull.
You know,
First
bull's got a shot at 3 different paychecks. Year to show up. So that
Marty
bull
from Rockin'
as a
J.
2-year-old bull could win 100,000+ easily.
Absolutely.
Best
so we
day
got
out there in Vegas, but can be really, really good.
More bulls to go to determine the winner here at the
Solid
improvement
Texas
over
Breeders'
what we
Classic,
saw in Las
13
Vegas from
Bandy's
year
Bad
for
Boy.
this
Yeah, really
event.
good,
and,
solid out
Jerry,
right
I know
there.
you've judged this event in the past.
He just has,
and,
you know, he has some
it's
speed.
become one
He
of
has
the
some
classic
spins right there in the
futurity
gate.
events in the country, in the industry.
Yeah, it's a great Best event. You day know, out they there in always have a Vegas, but it can fantastic be sale
uh,
the night really, really before.
good.
Same thing last night, you know, sold a lot of bulls
Solid
for
improvement over what we
$10,000
saw in
yearling,
Las
you know,
Vegas
so,
from Bandy.
Best that's
day
really
out there in
exciting
Vegas,
that the
but
business
can
is
be
moving
really,
in that
really
direction,
good.
And hopefully they have a lot of years of continued
Solid
success.
improvement over what we saw
in
in
Las
mention
Vegas
that
from Bandy's
Buck
Bad
and Bull
Boy.
TV
Yeah, really
coming to you
good, solid
live
out
from
right
Glen
there.
Rose, but on the Buck
He
and
just
Bull
has,
TV
you know, he has some
website,
speed.
you
He has
can
some spins right there in the
always
gate.
have the opportunity to watch archives of these events, as Mr. Pruitt wants to take that quick camera
Cameo.
opportunity.
Best day
to
out
his,
there in Vegas, but
cameo
can
as
be
he,
really, really
ambles,
good.
On by Dave Pruitt stopping by here.
Solid
Do we have
improvement
some
over what we saw in
replays
Las
here?
Vegas from
We're going to
Bandy's
show
Bad
you
Boy.
Best day out there in Vegas, but can be really, really good. Right here, as you watch this bull, you know,
Solid
Jeff, he's got
improvement
pretty
over
much
what we saw
everything
in
the
Las
judges
Vegas
looking
from
for. He's
Bandy's
got
Bad
the,
Boy.
the
Best
kick,
day
the
out there in
spin,
Vegas,
the
but can
intensity,
be really, really
the
good.
degree of difficulty. The only thing that the bull lacks a little bit is
Solid
buck, you know, coming
improvement
up
over
front
what we
end,
saw
but
in
he's
Las
so good at
Vegas
all
from
the other
Bandy's.
categories.
Best day out there in
He
Vegas,
sure
but
enough
can
makes
be
up
really,
for it.
really good. One thing we always discuss, Jerry Hargis, is we saw this bull
Solid
compete
improvement over
in
what
Las
we
Vegas
saw in
in
Las
the
Vegas
National
from
Buck and Bull
Bandy's
Day
Bad Boy.
Championship.
Yeah, really
and
good,
obviously
solid
had an
out
off
right
day
there.
So as we were discussing with
He
the
just
Ross
has,
and
you know,
Bulls
he
and
has
the
some
Chad
speed.
Raymer Bulls, on any given day, a bull could score a 90 and come back his next out and be in his 70s. I mean, unpredictable kind of business.
That's definitely right. These 2-year-olds definitely are. You know, they can be unpredictable. They can be superstars one day and does the next. You never know.
All right, so we're going to head back to our broadcast position. As we do, we just want to mention once again, you're watching Buck and Bull TV live coverage of the Texas Breeders' Classic from Glen Rose, Texas. And if you're just joining us right now, a lot more action ahead. We're only halfway, 45 more bulls to buck to determine the champion.